Welcome to Mind Research Rewired. We unveil scientific truths to transform confusion into clear thinking. Unlock a sharper, more effective you based on proven research. Subscribe now and elevate your life.
What if I told you that spending a year building this perfectly polished, completely bug-free app for your big launch day is actually the fastest possible way to bankrupt your entire startup?
I mean, it goes against literally every instinct we have as founders,
What's
right?
really?
You just want to hide in a cave, build an absolute masterpiece, and then unveil it to this massive standing ovation.
A Steve Jobs moment, right?
Exactly. But let's be real, that quote-unquote masterpiece is usually just an incredibly efficient way to build something that nobody actually wants.
And that is exactly what we are tearing down today. So welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, glad to be here.
If you are out there in the trenches right now, grinding, building a brand, managing some insanely complex technical build, or just trying to get your business off the ground, we are doing a total rewiring of how you look at your venture today.
A total rewiring.
We are killing the myth of the perfect launch. It's dead. And we're replacing it with relentless, validated learning based on the lean startup methodology.
But to fundamentally rewire that mindset, we first have to talk about a word that every founder completely obsesses over.
Productivity.
Yes, productivity.
Because, look, when I think of being productive, I think of hitting quotas. I'm knocking out this massive to-do list, I'm checking boxes, creating high-quality stuff as efficiently as humanly possible.
Right, and that works beautifully if you are, say, running a traditional manufacturing plant.
Sure.
But a startup isn't just a smaller version of a large corporation. That's a huge misconception.
Right.
A startup exists under conditions of extreme uncertainty. You don't actually know who the customer is yet.
Yeah.
Or, honestly, what the product should ultimately even be.
Because you're just guessing at that point.
Exactly. And because of that extreme uncertainty, the rules completely change. So in the lean startup framework, productivity has absolutely nothing to do with, like, how many lines of code you wrote today.
Yeah.
It is measured entirely by one thing, which is validated learning.
Hold on, though. Let's play devil's advocate here. Let's say you have a founder who spends 6 solid months locked in a studio, right? They are perfectly balancing this beautiful, creative apparel design with high-end technical functionality.
I know founders exactly like this.
We all do. They're working 16-hour days. They're sourcing the absolute best fabrics on earth. You are really telling me that founder isn't being productive.
It is a really bitter pill to swallow, but yes, I am saying they are not productive.
Wow.
Unless they are actively testing those designs with real people in the real world. 100% of that effort is waste.
100%.
100% waste.
Right.
I mean, you could build the highest quality product in the universe, but if you haven't validated that someone actually has the problem you're solving, and more importantly, is willing to pay you to solve it,
Yeah.
you haven't created any real value.
Because value is only providing a measurable benefit to the customer.
Precisely.
So it's kind of like, okay, imagine taking your entire seed budget and spending a whole year building this intricate, marble-floored physical storefront for a brand that nobody's ever even heard of.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. When instead, what you should do is just set up a cheap pop-up tent on the sidewalk with a few sample shirts just to see if anyone even stops to look.
Exactly. The pop-up tent is where the actual learning happens. You need a system to figure out what goes in that tent without going bankrupt first.
Okay, so setting up a pop-up tent sounds great in theory, but as a founder, how do you actually know what to put in the tent without spending...
Certain feedback loop was created.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally the core engine of everything we're talking about today.
Build, measure, learn.
Right. You build the absolute most minimal version of your idea, you measure how real customers respond to it, and then you learn whether to stick with your plan or completely change course.
Got it.
And that minimal version, that is your MVP, your minimum viable product.
Right, the infamous MVP. There is that famous Reid Hoffman quote floating around from the LinkedIn founder.
Oh yeah, I know the one.
He says, if you're not embarrassed by your first release, you launched too late. And honestly, I always thought that was just a joke.
Oh no, it is dead serious. It is the ultimate ego check for a founder.
Really?
Yeah, because the entire purpose of the MVP is to empirically test your biggest assumptions with the absolute least amount of effort and development time.
But okay, think about the ambitious founders listening right now.
Right.
If I go out and put out this garbage, embarrassing, duct-taped version of my product, won't I completely ruin my brand's reputation?
That is the fear. Right.
Yeah. What if people see it and think my company's just a total joke?
That is the single most common fear out there. But it fundamentally misunderstands the psychology of early adopters.
How so?
Well, the data actually tells us that early adopters make up about 14% of the population.
Okay, 14%.
And these are the people who constantly want to be the very first to try new things. And what's totally fascinating is they actually prefer an unfinished product.
Wait. They want it to be broken.
They want it to be about, like, 80% finished.
That is wild.
Because they actually love using their own imagination to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
They want the status of being the early visionary who discovered this cool new thing before everyone else.
Oh, so they want to be part of the journey.
Exactly. If you give an early adopter a 100% polished, perfect product, they feel like they missed the boat.
Wow.
So you have to just set aside your perfectionism to capture that validated learning fast.
That actually reminds me of the stories you hear about the sheer grit it takes to get early grant funding.
Oh, absolutely.
You have these massive pitch meetings where, one founder walks in with this pristine, glossy PowerPoint and flawless 3D renders.
Looks like $1 million.
Exactly. And then the next founder walks in with a literal duct-taped prototype. I mean, wires are hanging out. It looks like a high school science fair project.
Right.
But they press a button and it actually works. It proves the physical concept. And the duct-tape founder is the one who gets the check.
Because the duct tape prototype proves that you are prioritizing reality over vanity.
Wow, prioritizing reality over vanity.
And the really crazy thing is, you don't even need to build a physical prototype or, write a single line of code to do this.
Really? Zero code?
Zero. You can use what is called a concierge MVP.
Oh, I love this concept. Let's dig into this.
Yeah, it's where you basically manually guide early customers through a highly personalized service just to test if the core business model works at all.
Right. I was actually reading about how Iroko TV started using this exact method.
Oh, the Nollywood streaming service.
Yes. So they wanted to test if people in Africa would actually pay to stream Nollywood movies online. And, the founder instinct is to go raise millions and build this massive proprietary streaming platform.
Like a whole Netflix clone.
Exactly. But instead, their concierge MVP was literally just a simple YouTube page. They just uploaded the movies manually to see if anyone would even click.
It is brilliant because it costs almost nothing.
Yeah.
There's another really great example from the source material with Efferton in Nigeria.
Okay, what did they do?
So they wanted to see if people would actually meet up with total strangers to buy used goods in person.
A big leap of faith
A
there.
huge assumption. And they didn't go out and build a complex algorithmic matching app to test it.
What did they do?
The founders literally just manually brokered a few meetings themselves. They did the highly unscalable, totally manual work behind the scenes just to test that fundamental assumption.
Because if that assumption is wrong, if people refuse to meet strangers, it doesn't matter how good your app's code is.
Exactly. You save yourself a year of useless coding.
Okay, so let's say you swallow your pride, you launch the embarrassing YouTube page, or you set up the literal pop-up tent on the street.
Yep.
And suddenly you are flooded with data. People are clicking, or, maybe they aren't.
Right.
But how do you know if you are actually building a real business, or if you're just looking at data that makes you feel good about yourself?
Well, that transition is exactly where most startups die. And it is why you desperately need what's called innovation accounting.
Innovation accounting.
Right. It is a very systematic approach to measuring progress. You have to test two very specific leap of faith assumptions.
Okay, what are they?
The value hypothesis and the growth hypothesis.
Break this down for me really quick.
Sure. So the value hypothesis tests whether a product actually delivers real value to customers once they use it. Do they like it? Does it actually solve their problem?
Okay. And the growth hypothesis.
That tests how new customers will actually discover the product. So you establish baseline metrics for both of these using your MVP, and then you just try to improve them over time.
But we have to be incredibly careful about which numbers we are actually looking at, right? Because I know it is so insanely easy to get caught up in what are called vanity metrics.
Oh, vanity metrics are incredibly dangerous.
They really are.
These are the numbers that always seem to just go up, right?
Yeah.
Total registered users, raw page views, total app downloads.
The stuff that looks fantastic in a press release.
Exactly. It makes you feel like an absolute genius.
Yeah.
But They cause founders to live in this private reality because those numbers don't tell you if your business is actually sustainable.
Right. So what should we use instead?
Real metrics have to be the 3 A's: actionable, accessible, and auditable.
Okay, let's actually define those for the listeners because that is crucial. So, actionable. That basically means there is a clear cause and effect, right?
Right. If a metric goes up, you need to know exactly why it went up so you can replicate it.
Give me an example.
Like if you launch a brand new feature and your daily user engagement jumps by 10%, that is actionable. You know the feature caused the jump.
Right. But if total users goes up, but you have literally no idea where they came from or why they joined.
That is pure vanity. You can't replicate it.
Okay, got it. And the second A is accessible.
Yes. Accessible means the data has to be easily understood by everyone on your team, not just your data scientists.
Oh.
If your engineering and marketing teams can't easily read and understand the reports, they can't act on them.
That makes total sense. Keep it simple. And the last one, auditable.
Auditable means the data is actually credible. You should be able to trace any metric back to real-world customer behavior.
So, like, if a dashboard says you had 1,000 sales this week, you should be able to audit that by pointing to 1,000 actual credit card transactions.
Exactly. No fuzzy math.
You know, that makes me think of what LG tried to do in Nigeria with their new air conditioning unit.
Oh, the mosquito AC unit. That's a classic case study.
Yes. So they launched this new AC, and the entire marketing campaign, the whole massive assumption, was built around this highly publicized mosquito repellent technology.
Right.
So they assumed their value hypothesis was people will buy this unit specifically to fight mosquitoes.
And if they had just looked at a vanity metric, like, say, total sales are up this quarter, they would have just patted themselves on the back.
Yep.
And they would have kept pouring millions of dollars into more mosquito advertising.
Exactly. But instead, they actually went out, they talked to people, and they looked at actionable data.
And what did they find?
They realized the customers didn't care about the mosquito tech at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not at all.
Right.
They were actually buying the units because of the affordable price point and the really, really good after-sales support.
Wow.
So by looking at actionable reality, they realized they completely misunderstood their own customer, and they quickly adjusted their strategy.
See, that is the true power of actionable metrics.
Yeah.
Because if you just coast on vanity metrics, you end up in the absolute most dangerous place a startup can be.
Which is?
A zombie company.
A zombie company.
Yeah, the lean startup framework calls this the land of the living dead.
Okay, the land of the living dead. That sounds terrifying. But how does a business actually become a zombie?
Well, it happens when a startup is generating just enough revenue from early adopters to pay the server bills and basically keep the lights on.
So you aren't completely dead.
Right. You feel like you're alive because the vanity metrics are, ticking up slightly. But the underlying engine of the business is totally broken.
So you aren't growing.
You aren't actually acquiring any new customer segments. You are just burning cash and bringing your team's energy to maintain the status quo.
Just stagnant.
Completely stagnant. You're bleeding out slowly, but because you aren't looking at actionable retention or growth metrics, you don't even realize you're dying.
Okay, so let's say your actionable metrics are flashing red. They're telling you that you are a zombie company, or at least you're about to be one.
Then you have to change course immediately.
And this is where the famous word pivot comes in.
Yes, the pivot.
But, founders hear the word pivot and they immediately panic.
And, they hate it.
They think it means admitting total failure, firing the entire team, and starting a brand new company from scratch.
But it's not a failure at all. A pivot is just a structured course correction.
Sure.
Yeah, it's designed to test a new fundamental hypothesis about the product or the strategy.
Yeah.
You basically keep one foot rooted in what you've learned so far, and you shift the other foot.
Like a zoom-in pivot.
Exactly.
That's when you realize one single feature of your massive app is the only thing people actually use. So you pivot, and that one feature becomes the entire product.
Spot on. Or there's a customer segment pivot where the product works perfectly, but you realize it's for a completely different demographic than you originally targeted.
Right.
And understanding this concept fundamentally rewires how you view your startup's lifespan.
Oh, so?
Because your true runway as a company is not how many dollars you have left in the bank.
It's not.
No. Your runway is how many pivots you have left.
Wow.
How many times can you course correct and learn before the money runs out?
Man, that is such a powerful mindset shift. So the goal is to basically cycle through that build, measure, learn loop as fast as humanly possible,
Yeah.
right? To squeeze out as many pivots as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do we actually speed that up? Because we're usually taught that working in bulk is the fastest way to get things done.
Yes, the industrial mindset.
But the research completely dismantles that with something called small batch processing.
It completely dismantles it. Small batch processing is very counterintuitive at first.
Give me an example.
Let's look at the classic envelope stuffing analogy from the book. Imagine you have 100 letters to send to investors.
Okay.
Your intuition tells you to work in large batches,
Right.
like fold all 100 letters, then stuff all 100 into envelopes.
Then seal them all. Then stamp them all.
Exactly.
Right? Because you get into a groove, you feel like you're being super efficient.
It feels incredibly efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But rigorous time studies constantly prove that doing it one by one, meaning folding one letter, stuffing it, sealing it, stamping it, and then moving to the next complete unit, is significantly faster.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate again and bring this into the physical product world.
Yeah.
If I am a founder and I'm manufacturing hardware or apparel, it is objectively cheaper per unit to order a bulk batch of 10,000 items from an overseas manufacturer.
On paper, yes.
Doesn't doing small batches just totally destroy my profit margins?
Well, let's apply the envelope analogy to your 10,000 units. Let's say you use the large batch method. You fold all 100 letters at once. You finally get to the stuffing phase, and you suddenly realize the envelopes you bought are a quarter-inch too small for the letters. What happens?
Oh, man. Well, you have 100 uselessly folded letters. You have to start completely over.
Exactly. Now apply that to your 10,000 unit bulk order.
Oh, no.
Right? You get your massive shipment from overseas to save on those unit costs. You ship it to your early customers, and you discover a fatal flaw in the design that everyone absolutely hates.
Right.
You don't have a cheap per unit cost anymore. You just have 10,000 pieces of expensive trash sitting in a warehouse.
Wow. So if you do it in small batches, like you do one complete cycle, you fold the first letter, you try to put it in the first envelope, you realize it doesn't fit, and you catch the fatal flaw immediately on unit number 1.
Bingo. The time and money you save avoiding massive catastrophic rework exponentially outweighs the minor per unit savings of a huge bulk order.
That makes total sense. And that's actually exactly how Toyota revolutionized manufacturing, right?
Yes, the Toyota production system.
They didn't buy massive machines to churn out thousands of parts at once. They used general-purpose machines to produce parts in small batches, which allowed them to catch defects instantly.
They even instituted something called the andon cord to enforce it.
Right. What is the andon cord? I hadn't heard of that mechanism before this research.
It was a physical cord hanging above the actual assembly line. And any worker at literally any level could pull it to stop the entire factory line the second they saw a defect.
The whole factory.
The whole thing stops.
Mm.
The whole team would then swarm the problem, fix the root cause, and then restart the line.
I mean, on paper, that sounds like it would ruin efficiency.
It does sound like that. But by catching defects instantly in small batches, the team actually speeds up the overall output in the long run because they aren't dealing with massive pileups of defective parts later.
And this mindset applies everywhere, right? Not just factories. Look at the School of One.
The education program.
Yeah. Instead of creating a massive year-long curriculum, which is a large batch that takes forever to adjust if kids are failing, they give students daily playlists of learning tasks.
So small batches.
Exactly. If a teaching method fails today, the data shows it today, and they adjust the student's playlist tomorrow.
That is immediate, validated learning in action.
Okay, so let's say you've done the work. You've validated the MVP. You are looking at real actionable metrics. You've pivoted when necessary, and your small batches are running smoothly. You have a real validated business.
The dream.
Now it is time to pour gasoline on the fire. It is time to scale.
Yes. And to scale sustainably, you really need to understand the 3 engines of growth.
3 engines.
Right, because growth isn't magic. It follows a very simple rule. New customers come from the actions of past customers. But there are 3 very distinct mechanisms or engines to actually make that happen.
Okay, first is the sticky engine.
Yes, the sticky engine is all about retention. The mechanism here is keeping your churn rate, which is the rate at which people cancel or leave, as close to absolute zero as possible.
So nobody leaves.
Right. If your product is so indispensable that no one ever unsubscribes, you only need to acquire a tiny trickle of new customers to grow massively over time. You just focus obsessively on making the product stickier.
Okay, second is the viral engine,
This one is driven by a viral loop.
like social media.
Yes. The mechanism is that users automatically recruit more users, simply as a side effect of using the product.
Like how Dropbox grew in the early days.
Perfect example. They gave you 500 megabytes of free space if you successfully invited a friend.
Right.
So the product itself actually becomes the marketing team. The compounding growth is explosive.
I love that. And the third is the paid engine.
This one is pure math. The mechanism is ensuring your customer lifetime value, or LTV, is significantly greater than your cost of customer acquisition.
Okay, so if it costs you $50 in ads to acquire a customer,
And they generate $200 in profit over their lifetime using the product.
you just take that profit, buy more ads, and scale the engine up.
Exactly.
So, okay, as a highly ambitious founder who wants to build the next unicorn, my instinct is to just run all three engines simultaneously.
Of course.
I want viral loops, sticky retention, and massive paid ad campaigns all going at the exact same time.
And that instinct is the fastest way to kill an early-stage company.
Really? Why? I mean, more engines equals more speed, right?
No more engines equals more noise.
Oh,
Truly successful startups focus on just one engine of growth at a time. If you try to tune 3 complex mechanisms all at once, your actionable metrics become completely chaotic.
because you can't isolate the variables.
Right. You won't know if your growth is coming from the paid ads, the viral loop, or the high retention. Lack of focus is absolutely lethal. You have to pick one engine, obsess over its specific metrics, and master it.
Focus or die. That is a huge takeaway. Now, as you scale that single engine, things are inevitably going to break, right? Servers will crash, marketing campaigns will flop.
It's guaranteed.
And this brings us to one of the most practical frameworks we uncovered in this deep dive, the 5 whys.
Yes, this is crucial for adapting as you grow, because at the root of almost every seemingly technical problem is actually a human management problem.
A human problem.
Always. The 5 whys is a tool to basically drill past the technical symptoms and find that human root cause.
Let's actually walk through a real-world example because this is so incredibly powerful. Let's say we just launched our app and on day 1, the server completely crashes. Total disaster.
Okay, let's drill down first why. Why did the server crash?
Because the new API update overloaded the memory.
Okay, second why. Why did the new API update overload the memory?
Because it wasn't tested for high traffic loads before we deployed it.
Third why. Why wasn't it tested for high traffic?
Because the engineering team rushed the launch to meet the Friday deadline.
Getting closer. Fourth why.
Yeah.
Why did the team rush the launch?
Because the project manager promised marketing it would be ready, even though engineering clearly said they were behind.
And the fifth why. Why did the project manager override engineering?
Because we don't have a formal sign-off process where engineering actually has to approve a launch date.
Boom. There it is.
Wow.
You started with a purely technical server crash. If you just add more memory to the server, it's just going to crash again next month.
Right, because you didn't fix the real problem.
Exactly. By asking why 5 times, you found the human system failure, a lack of a communication protocol between management and engineering. You fix that protocol, and the server miraculously stops crashing.
That is profound. And it creates such incredible accountability across the team.
It really does.
Because it shifts the blame from, this person is bad at their job to our system made it too easy for this person to make a mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It forces leadership to take real responsibility for the environment they've built.
Okay, man, we have covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We tore down the perfect launch. We rebuilt productivity from the ground up. We explored embarrassing MVPs and actionable metrics.
The whole lean startup playbook.
But if you want to put this into practice right now, today, here are 3 ways to pressure test your startup before dinner tonight. Let's get right into the Do It Today segment.
I love this. So first is the assumption audit.
Grab a notebook.
Grab a notebook and literally write down the single biggest leap of faith assumption your entire business rests on right now.
Just one.
Just the biggest one.
No.
What is the one core thing you are assuming about your customer that, if wrong, destroys the whole company?
That's a scary question. Second is the concierge challenge. Look at that massive assumption you just wrote down. Between now and tomorrow afternoon, I want you to brainstorm the absolute cheapest, most embarrassing manual way to test it.
No coding.
No coding, no massive manufacturing runs. How can you manually provide the service to one real person to see if they actually care?
And third is the root cause drill down. Think about the most frustrating bottleneck or failure your team faced this week.
We all have one.
Sit down with your team today, grab a whiteboard, and run the 5 whys. Don't stop at the technical glitch. Find the human system error and fix the system.
I absolutely love that. It is all about taking immediate, validated action.
That's what separates the winners.
Absolutely. Now, as we close this out, I want to slow down just for a second. I want to ask you, the founder listening right now, 2 really profound questions to reflect on.
Listen closely to these.
Question number 1. Look at the feature or product you are spending most of your time building today. Are you building it because the customer empirically validated that they desperately want it? Or are you building it because you are secretly scared to launch, get judged, and be embarrassed?
Man, that is a heavy mirror to look into.
It is.
Question number 2. Look at your current growth. Which of the 3 engines, sticky, viral, or paid, is intentionally driving your business today? Or are you just praying for a miracle combination of all 3 because you haven't made the hard choice to actually focus?
Let those questions sink in. Audit your mindset. And look, we want to hear from you on this.
Definitely.
Post your answers, your epiphanies, your afterthoughts in the comment section below. We read them, and we really want to see those massive mindset shifts happening in real time.
And hey, if this deep dive brought you value, if it had helped you elevate how you are building your empire, please hit that like button.
And hit subscribe so we can keep bringing you the absolute top-tier mindset and psychological research you need to win. You've got the pop-up tent. You know what you have to do. Get out of the building, stop hiding behind perfection, and start aggressively learning. We will see you on the next deep dive.